Well, we really enjoy developing high-end products for the sim racing market, and we really get enthusiastic about products which we want to use ourselves as well.
And this is the accumulation of almost 5 years of slow, continuous development. One of the most important things that I've learned over the years is that I don't know everything. I have some ideas, but it's useless if I'm the only one who likes the ideas. So yeah, we do have to listen, and we're quite happy to listen to feedback from sim racers, but also from professionals who use our products.
Here is a load cell, not off the shelf, but designed specifically to our own specifications. Springs also made to our specifications right here in the Netherlands. And best of all, the new rubbers also developed especially for this product for the sim pedal sprint.
Innovation really is at the core of a company. We started this company because we wanted to make products that were better than what was available at that time. Therefore, we're developing all the time. And with the sim pedal sprint, we really made a product which is a few steps ahead in the market again.
Well, we always follow the main forums at iRacing, and our German sim racers have a very active forum. And we get a lot of email and questions as well. Customers who, for example, say, well, those pro pedals, I love them, but perhaps I would like the brake pedal to feel a little softer. So we take that feedback in the new design with our custom developed rubbers, so that we can provide a slightly softer as well as slightly stiffer brake pedal. So the range of operation is increased, which is quite a big improvement.
This one gives absolutely the best feel, and it has been tested to over 1 million cycles, and it's still in one piece. So we have absolute confidence in this one.
What we've always had and still have with these pedals is that the form kind of follows the function. So we want minimum space usage, so everything has to be as compact as possible, but we also want minimum weight. And I'm always a spreadsheet guy, so I love to make calculation sheets where we can predict the forces of the clutch pedal, like how it falls off towards the end of the pedal. There's no guesswork, it's all engineered and designed, so beforehand we know with this spring, with this layout, we get this pedal force.
These pedals are very suitable for sim racers who build their own cockpit. They have a heavy-duty construction, they can work with high loads on a brake pedal, they're very accurate, they offer a lot of adjustability, and they really make you feel like you drive a real race car.
We have a software that we include, that we've custom developed, where you can change all sorts of settings, and it applies to the hardware. So the settings are saved on the chip on the controller board. So you can exit your simulator and you can change the curvature, the response curve of a pedal, and go back to your simulator, and your pedal response will be different.
Not only for Assetto Corsa or Automobilista, but also for iRacing. So it works with iRacing. That makes it very, very easy to set up. Easier than we've had in the past.
Actually, some of the guys who do the assembly work on the work floor, they were already tweaking with it. This is a good setup for drifting, or I think this will improve my braking. So we see that there's a lot of room for tweaking. And let's face it, all sim racers, we like to tweak and mess with things. And there's an almost endless amount of options you can do with tweaking our software. And saving it as a profile, so you can always load it back, even share the profiles with your friends who use the same pedals.
Nowadays in sim racing, people can drive a large variety of cars. With the Heusinkveld Smart Control software, you can set up your pedal set for a road car or for a Formula 1 car and really drive away in just a few mouse clicks. Well, we really enjoy developing high-end products for the sim racing market, and we really get enthusiastic about products which
Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new series here on Racesport TV. It is the Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series and we're coming to you this week from the Nurburgring in Germany. What a great series this is going to be. Heat racing, then going into a feature race at the end. But we've got the track statistics there up on screen. This 3.1 mile circuit here in the Eifel Mountains, certainly one that's a challenge for these drivers. We're using the World Endurance Championship layout, so that means the easier of the chicanes on the back half of the lap. But my name is Paul Smith. Alongside me is Sumil Arora with Hugo Lewis on the cameras, and those cameras provided by Istvan Ballo of TrackCams22.com. But Sumil, we'll start with this. What an amazing series, and what a vast array of tracks we're going to be going to.
So we begin, of course, here at the Nürburgring GP layout, and then, as the screen shows, we're going to Oulton Park, Barcelona, the National Circuit, Zandvoort, my personal favorite, Interlagos, and then Silverstone. Some properly world-class circuits, and with these TCR cars, it is bound to be a whole lot of fun, trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you see, Nurburgring here today. Oulton Park is the next one on the 12th of June. That's my personal favourite. Then July, we've got 2 rounds, and August, we've got 2 rounds rounding out the season at Silverstone. But you may be new to heat racing. If you've seen rallycross events before, then you'll understand the concept. But for those of you who don't understand, well, here's the format for today's racing. We're going to have, we're currently qualifying to organise who goes into which heat race. We're going to have a number of heat races, up to 4 heat races potentially, with the top 5 from each of those heat races advancing into a feature race. But not all is lost there, Sumil, is there? Because there is, of course, those who don't finish in that top 5 from the heat races, they get one final chance.
Oh yes, indeed. So it's a bit like a playoff system essentially. So you get a consolation race where the 5 unqualified drivers from each heat, they go to a consolation race, and they all together have one final race where the top 5 from that go into the feature race. So it's essentially the top 5 from all the heats and then the top 5 from the consolation race. So in the end it becomes pretty much like an all-star race. So for instance, if you missed out on the heats perhaps by having a crash or something like that, in the consolation race you really can get redemption and get back to the finals and perhaps produce an underdog performance and maybe, just maybe, win the feature race as well.
Well, the final few seconds of qualifying are upon us, and the first of your heat races will be coming up in just a few seconds time. I can tell you that it's a competitive field. The top 17 drivers are covered by less than a second, so it shows how close this field is. But with qualifying over, we will be heading to the first of our heat races. So on the grid in heat number 1, it's Ross Balfour pole position ahead of Reinhard Heibel, with Tim Stebani and Dennis Neidhart on your front 2 rows. Then third row of the grid, it'll be Fraser Smith and Andrei Rekovic, with Marcel Fritsch and Marcel oh my goodness, I always get this name wrong, Jerorutsky on the 8th place, and then Lennart Frick rounding out your 9 drivers in this first heat here. Second heat and third heat will have 8 drivers each. But we're getting set then for the opening race. And Samil, just very briefly, what are your thoughts? How do you think this one will go? Of course, rolling starts for each of these races.
Well, the only thing that I can think of really is the fact that these touring cars, I really call them the totally chaotic racing cars, and that's exactly what I expect. Some total chaos, but then again, on the same side, I expect the drivers to be a little bit sane as well, because in the end, it's a heat race format, and they really do want to finish this race. Yes, indeed, again, on the flip side, you do have a consolation race to help things, but in the end, I expect some drivers to be a bit aggressive, but a bit controlled on the same time as well. In the end, though, TCR cars around the Nürburgring, it's going to be superb.
So we have got 3 heat races then to start us off here in this opening round of this Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series, as the iRacing pace car, the Porsche 911, pulls us away. And we're getting set with a rolling start then. Ross Balfour will be the one to set the pace as we trundle on down towards the chicane, although he's dropping his side of the grid back a bit, which is rather an interesting approach, if I must say, because you've got to be careful that you don't get told off for a jump start and get a black flag. But here we go then. Into the chicane. He's now taking up the lead of this, and he'll control this grid. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go on the exit of this final corner. But here we go, 5 laps in each of these heat races, 5 laps in the consolation race as well. Holding, waiting for the green flag. And the green flag is out, away we go then. Heat number 1 of tonight, and it's a good start from Ross Balfour out at the front. You can see them fanning out to be 3 wide as they head on into turn number 1. Onto the brakes, cold rear tyres, they've got to be careful heading in through here. Now this arena section, you can really get the cutbacks. A forceful move for second place there by Tim Stabani. Up into second then, ahead of Fraser Smith, although Smith will hold the outside line. You can try and make that outside line work and get the inside for the next corner, but not quite hanging on to it. So it is Balfour ahead of Stabani, Smith in third with Heibel and Neidhart rounding out your top 5 at the moment. But Smith, even though he's in a qualifying position, he's wanting to stay ahead, but he's coming under pressure from Heibel, who goes down the inside, and Smith is falling back here.
Yeah, what a start that was, and all these cars really getting touchy on the first corner as well, as we now see Stabani going onto the gravel there for a second. So that start, well, it was probably chaotic and a bit clean as well at the same time. So the battles are still on. Look at that, was that a dive bomb for a second? And he goes wide, so Stabani goes in for a dive bomb at the hairpin and just loses out on all sense of traction and falls all the way back. So the climb begins for him right here.
That was Heibel, sorry, who fell back there. Reinhard Heibel from the Getpol racing car. Fraser Smith dropping back. He must have a slowdown penalty through the Schumacher S. Oh, it's so easy to pick up a slowdown penalty through there. So that drops him all the way down to 8th place. We've had one driver not take the start. That's Lennart Frick. So he will not be progressing forward through this. But Ross Balfour out at the front, 1.3 seconds ahead. He's rubbing his hands with glee. But the battle is on for 3rd place. Heibel has actually made his way back past Neidhart then. So Dennis Neidhart dropping down to 4th, but he's safe for the time being. But it's those drivers battling for 5th place. They're in a danger here of slowing each other down and just gifting those top 5 qualifying positions.
Quite literally, and the battle for P5, it's so crucial, because in the end, if you're on that final line, if you're P5, then again you go into the final feature race. But of course you have the long route to the consolation, but you don't really want to do that. They're going 3 wide over here for this battle for 5th place. Oh, side by side again as they come to the arena section. Now the chance for a cutback for the 8th car. Still wheel to wheel racing going on here now. Oof, are they going to push each other wide? Not quite, but this is some properly frantic racing there.
This is Fraser Smith trying to make his way back. He's up in 6th place here, but they've lost 1.2 seconds to 5th place with all this battling through the arena section. That's the problem. If you get so hell-bent on trying to make your way through there and trying to battle each other, you lose time on the important positions. And now I'm just looking at my timing screen. 1.5 seconds off of 5th place here. There's a lot of work here, Samil, to get through. We're on lap 2, yes, but we're halfway through lap 2.
It is indeed, and it would be just a bit thoughtless, essentially, to try and fight for that position and let the other guys go past. At this stage, what you really need is some sort of collective effort, some sort of teamwork. Although that's going to be a bit tricky, but still, 1.4 seconds, that is the gap, and they really need to make sure that they reel them in and then perhaps fight for the positions later on. Remember, folks, only a 5-lap race, so the time is limited, but again, it is all possible.
Yep, heading in through the left, then into the right. See Ross Balfour coming through the picture then. It's Stabani, Tim Stabani in 2nd place. Reinhard Heibel is in 3rd with Dennis Neidhart 4th. Andrej Rakovic is 5th place. And then you've got this battle for 6th place. But they almost need to be sort of helping each other, as you mentioned there. Work together, get themselves towards that front 5 positions. But these drivers, they're all adept in this Audi LMS, the RS3 LMS TCR car, and here we are, 7th place Marcel, trying to keep onto the tail of Fraser Smith. They have pulled up that gap a little bit to the cars in front of them, so they can do this here, Samil.
Yeah, they really can, and with only 2 laps left, they'll need some sort of miraculous effort to get that done. But still, as Murray Walker once said, it's one thing to close up, it's a completely different ball game to get that move done, as we now see a battle going on there. Oh, Heibel going side by side. For 2nd place, this is the leader, is just closing up ahead. I mean, he's just blasting off. But this battle for 2nd place just seems to be so intense. Both the cars going side by side there and almost getting a cutback as we now brace ourselves for this left-hander. But they now have just settled in and are saddled into that positions. That was close. The battle for 2nd place is really heating up with more and more cars slowly joining in the party.
Well, you may be sat there at home thinking, well, why are they battling so much over 2nd place? They're in a qualifying position. Why risk it all for 2nd place? Well, your results in this race, in these heat races, dictate where you start in the main feature race. So these drivers are still going to be hell-bent on trying to work their way through, and Tim Stabani did actually make it back past, but you can see, you don't need to see the times of how close they are. Look at it, you can see it on screen. Dennis Neidhart looking to the outside. Be careful.
Oh.
Don't get a little quarter panel there. It's easy to quarter panel the car in front in these. Of course, front-wheel drive cars, we've not mentioned that. So when the front wheels are doing all the action, the rear wheels are just to keep the car from making sparks.
Essentially, that's what the case is, but don't let that confuse you. Even though it's a front-wheel drive car, trust me, it is just so much fun to drive. When you get in that flow, when you get in that rhythm, this car just gives you the kind of satisfaction that, let's say, not many other cars can really give you. It's a different sort of feel altogether. But still, again, they're battling it out for that all-essential 5th spot. Drivers are now just getting ever so closer to each other, and with only, a couple of laps to go, lap 4 and lap 5, it is really getting hot and spicy here. Just look at the gaps. They're not too far off from each other, except, of course, if you're Ross Balfour and you're just pulling away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Ross Balfour is just having a nice Friday evening drive in Nürburgring. But these guys battling here. We've got a pack of 4, but Fraser Smith is catching up to them, although his last lap was 0.2 of a second quicker compared to 5th place Rakovic. So Andre and the pack in front of him need to be worried and need to be concerned about those drivers catching up behind. And they don't need to worry about tyre wear here because it's a short race. It's just use and abuse those tyres here, Samuel.
Exactly, it's only 5 laps. You blink and it's over pretty much, and that just makes it all the way better for the audience. But of course, for these drivers, it changes things altogether. They need to be just a bit more aggressive and try to extract as much as they can from their cars. Think of it as 5 qualifying laps essentially. Just hammer the car down and try to extract as much as you possibly can. And the thing with these TCRs is, the thing with these touring cars is that what looks slow actually isn't. So the thing is to get a good amount of smoothness in the lap as well, because your lap may look slow from the outside, but essentially you get in the car to go just a little bit faster because you are a bit slow with it. Ross Balfour, in fact, he may be looking a bit slow on the track, but my goodness, he's just pulling away from the rest of the pack, and that is exactly what you need to do. But at the same time, battle hard as well to try and make sure that you're in the right positions to get into the feature race.
Reinhard Heibel putting the pressure on second place Tim Stabani, the Schubert Motorsport driver versus Getpol Racing, and into the chicane. They're going to go side by side. Will they make any moves? Not for the time being. I think that was quite wise to just back out of that one for Heibel, but he's got to be careful not to back out too hard, because it's Dennis Neidhart behind, ready to pounce if there's any mistakes. But we're on to the final lap of the race now. One more tour of this first heat race. So it's Ross Balfour in the lead, Tim Stabani in second place with Reinhard Heibel in third place, and then Dennis Neidhart looking at that third place with Andrej Rakovic in fifth place. He's on the bubble there. He's in the seat that is the most uncomfortable in this opening heat race, because he's coming under pressure from Fraser Smith behind. So all of a sudden we've got a queue of cars here going from second place all the way down to seventh here, Samel.
This is when things really get exciting, the final lap, when everyone just bunches up and we see things get really hotter. So we're right on board with Fraser Smith at this moment, and he really needs to get something done. I mean, the chances are running out essentially, because we've got that faster chicane towards the end. That really isn't an overtaking opportunity. So it's now or never essentially at this hairpin and after the Schumacher S at that left-hand corner. Can he get something done? He's getting a good run over there, a good exit that was. So Fraser Smith essentially closing into the 99 car, and he needs to get that fifth position desperately. Tries for a lunge, but the door is blocked, or is it? He's trying to opening it up for him. It's the apex and goes wide, runs on the gravel, and it's essentially gone for him, or is it? He gets a good recovery, but very few opportunities left for him. It's now or never for him. If he gets it done here, he gets into the feature race, or if he doesn't, it's on to the consolation race for him.
You can make a move into this left-hander, but it's too far back for the time being. You can make a move into the chicane, but you've got to be very brave, and you've got to have the cooperation of the driver that you're fighting, and you can make moves into the final corner. I've seen it done before, but right now the battle for fifth is on. Ross Balfour is way out in front. He's going in towards the final chicane. He's going to win this heat race, but it's a battle for fifth. Fraser Smith looking to the inside. It's not happening there for the time being. Through the chicane, who gets the better run? And I think Rakovic is just going to hold it. It's inside. He's using a crowbar to open that door. Fraser Smith, can he do it across the line then? It's neck and neck, but it's not going to be for him. And Andrej Rakovic is going to hold on to fifth place. Great result there. We'll get the results up on screen very shortly, but it's Ross Balfour who wins that one. Tim Stabani second, Reinhard Heibel third, Dennis Neidhart fourth, with Andrej Rakovic, who you saw getting the qualifying result in fifth place. The rest of the drivers, they all go through to the consolation race. The second race here is coming up very quickly now, so it's quick, fast-paced action here. Patrick Kubince in the first place with Masseltine second, Nicky Thiem with Team in third place ahead of Max Riedmüller in fourth place. Fifth is going to be Sam Dunstall with Bailey Sweeney in sixth, Kevin Weinrich in seventh, and Philip Eckhardt rounding out your top eight. But just quickly then, Samil, what were your thoughts of that first heat race?
Oh, that first heat race was fantastic. Man for ahead, just dominating from the front. But for Fraser Smith, it wasn't for a lack of trying, was it? He just made a move at the final corner and hoped for the best. Unfortunately though, it's only a consolation race for him. But the second heat, well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, if the first heat is anything to go by, expect some proper chaos towards the end and some good, hard and fair racing. We've seen them battling it out very hard, but they haven't really crashed, so that's a fun thing to see.
Well, here we are then, behind the iRacing pace car, getting themselves set up. They want to get heat into those tyres and get themselves ready for the next of these heat races. 3 heat races coming to you today here on the iRacing Esports Network. Paul Smith and Sunil Arora giving you all the action here from Racebot TV. Thank you for joining us. Racebot.tv/timing if you want to keep up to date with all of the action, or timing 2 should I say. But here we go then, waiting for the green flag. Gotta be patient, gotta wait. Wait for that green flag. When does it drop? It drops late here. The green flag is in the air, and away they go then, and fanning out straight away. The two Heusinkveld cars looking to the outside. There's a bit of door banging going on mid-pack in towards turn number 1. Oh, there's been contact. A blue car down the inside into contact with the leader. Massive, massive incident at the start of the race then. Absolute nightmare. That is not what we wanted from this one. It was the 33 car. That was Bailey Sweeney who ended up going into the leaders. That's a danger of what can happen there into turn number 1. Of course, cold tyres on the grass as well, but we are away and we are up and running. So out of the first arena section is major damage to Bailey Sweeney's car, but your pole sitter now has dropped down the field down to, that is what, 6th place.
For Sweeney, it was just like, what, a bowling ball coming in and just smashing everyone through, smashing all the pins. He got a full score over there, he got a strike, but unfortunately that's not what he wanted in a motor race. For the leader though, it's gone all for a toss. He has to do it all over again, and just look at that damage on the car. It's completely battered and bruised up. As we now take a look at the replay of the start, look at all the cars going 3-4 wide over there for a second. They're not afraid to make the moves, but this is where things really happen. A bit of banging, a bit of touching. Slam on he goes to the grass, coming through, strike, it's all the pins, and there's a lot of damage right there. Nicky Team of course going through the gravel as well, and things have just changed over there in the matter of seconds. That is some properly chaotic racing.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's still going on. Here we are on lap 1. Max Riedmuller, who was in the lead of this one, is dropping down. He's had a slowdown penalty in this one, so he's dropped down now, down the order. So absolute nightmare for Max then as they're going through the chicane, and into the back of him goes Bailey Sweeney. You can see how it all lines up. And look at the state of that car. It needs a bit of panel bashing and a bit of teak on that one, but it is Dunstall in the lead ahead of Weinrich, with Ty in 3rd place. Kubinja, who was your pole sitter, actually he's up in 4th place. That's not bad, and it's this battle for 5th. Eckhart and Nicky Team down into turn number 1, and it's Team down the inside up into 5th place. So this is heat number 2. It's lap 2, and we had drama at the start, and I think we're going to get plenty more drama going through this race here.
Oh yes, we are. Now this battle between Eckert and Team, I think this is going to be the one that essentially defines this race. Eckert now closing in past this corner right here. This left-hander can be a chance if you're daring enough, but in fact for Eckert, he's just a bit too far off. Team is of course closing into Kubinji as well, so Kubinji is getting pressure from both sides. He has to attack, remember, to get a better qualifying position, but Team is coming hard on him. So what does he do now? What does he do? Does he attack? Does he defend more? What does he focus on? If you're Kubinji, I would suggest going in for it and trying to get a better position. But for Dunstall, he's developed a gap of around 9/10 of a second. That is superb.
Yep, so up the hill they go and through the Schumacher S. What will be the outcome of this one? I think Team is just pulling away now in that 5th place, so he's doing a good job so far up in there. But you're looking back from Ty in 3rd place. He's got Kubinji behind. 4th place, your pole sitter, so we know how quick he is in this car. But then there's Nicky Team not that far behind in 5th place. One driver is on pit road, and that's Max Riedmuller, so he must have had quite a bit of considerable damage from that opening lap salvo, so he's going to have to hope that he does well in the consolation race. But yeah, on pit road and out this one for the Team Heusinkveld car is into 3rd place because comes Kubinji. Oh my goodness, I better put my teeth back in there as they go down the start and finish straight. Lap 3 of this race then, halfway point coming up shortly as they're going too wide into turn number 1. How will they sort themselves out? Ty does not want to give this one up, and here comes Team. He's wanting the fight here, and he's brought his boxing gloves, it looks like, with the state of that car, but into the arena section. Are they going to go 3 wide? No, not quite, but Team bumping his way into the back of Marcel Ty into the right-hander, and this is where he could get the cutback.
Wow.
And that's been done perfectly there. Can Team get the run done? Yes, up into 4th place ahead of Marcel Ty.
Well, someone's not afraid to take risks. Nicky Team, I can only imagine him going bonkers in the stream that he runs on Twitch. He'll be going mad. I mean, what a move that was. Just got the perfect exit and swooped off to get that position in. So B4 now belongs to Team Kubinji in B3. So Ty is now back in B5. And for Eckert, he has it all to do. He's what, all the way back in B6. And the gap here is also growing lap after lap. So it's all getting really exciting over here with only, what, a couple of laps left now. I'm expecting a photo finish towards the end for these positions. It's going to be superb. I can't wait for the end.
I think that the front two are just too far ahead for them to be caught unless they make a mistake here.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that, it's 1.1 seconds between first and second, but then another couple of seconds between second and third. So it's that battle for third, fourth and fifth where the main heat is. But Philip Eckhart is coming under pressure from Bailey Sweeney for 6th and 7th place. The problem is we've got the same situation of what happened in that first heat. You don't want to end up battling too hard, or else you cost yourselves time and you lose the opportunity of going for that top 5 finish.
Well, not exactly what happened. So the drivers, they need to play it a bit smart over here as well, as we look at a move being made potentially. So Eckert under a lot of pressure from Sweeney, and Sweeney, who had that major accident at the start, is now starting to claw his way back into the field. He doesn't have a lot of time, though, only a couple of laps left, and as Paul, you correctly mentioned, they need to be a bit smart with that, as we see another battle going on over here. Nicky Team, oof, he's making up positions rather quickly, I must say.
Yeah, making money moves in this race early on then. Lap 4 of this one, it is Sam Dunstall who leads this one. Second place is Kevin Weinrich with Nicky Team now in 3rd place. Patrick Kabinji in 4th with Marcel Ty rounding out your qualifiers here. Of course, these drivers, they are just getting a 5-lap heat race here. The Consolation race, which will be coming up in a couple of races' time, is another 5-lap race. And then the feature race, the main race, that's going to be a 15-lap race. It should be a little bit calmer, although, to be honest, I think that these drivers will be just wanting to swap paint.
That's what happens with touring cars. I mean, the idea pretty much is to go bang on with each other and not be afraid to trade places, and of course trade paint as well at the same time. Nicky Team is a man who doesn't seem to be afraid to do that. I mean, he's going past the Schumacher S's right here, and Kubinji is just closing in. He gets the better exit. Can he make a move this time out heading into this corner? Not exactly. And again, the issue with the track is, I mean, now that we have that faster chicane layout, that eliminates one overtaking opportunity for all these drivers over here. So it's going to be just a tad bit more difficult to get the moves in. But again, these are TCR cars and these are touring car drivers, and you give them one small opportunity and they make the perfect use of Ayrton Senna's code. I mean, they go for a drag, they go for a gap and prove that they are actually proper racing drivers. Here we come, folks, past the final corner. It's time for the final lap. The Americans would say that white flag is out, but not so much here. Once again, final lap, and now Marcel Ty is the driver who we ride on board with. He's on the bubble in P5, and Paul, we're heading for a frantic finish, aren't we?
Yeah, I would say that Marcel Ty is fairly safe. He's got about a 1.5 second gap between him and Philip Eckhart, so it's got to be a monster lap from Eckhart to get this one in this final lap. But one little mistake, one little incident here, and you can see one of these drivers in the top 5 dropping down. But the sun is setting here here at the Nürburgring, we could have an interesting evening where we have that final race going into the night time. And with this iRacing damage model, the changes to the damage model, the headlights do get the LED sort of driving lights, they do get damaged, as you can see on that 4th place car. So they do get affected by damage. You can see there's one light on, one light off for Marcel Ty. So these drivers, they really need to be careful if they're going to go into that feature race, although they should be okay, because at that point, if it is dark enough, the headlights will come on. But second half of the lap, Sam Dunstall does lead this one by just about a second ahead of Kevin Weinrich. We've not really talked about Sam that much in this race, Samil, but he's done a fantastic job there at the front.
Well, fantastic would be a bit of an understatement, frankly. I mean, Sam Dunstall has just led from the front, has grabbed this race from the helm pretty much, and has taken it very well. The leader, pretty much Sam Dunstall, he's done a superb job. I mean, he's not shown a single sign of letting go of this one, and he's been virtually error-free, pretty much. And with the gap of around 1.3 seconds heading into second place, I think Dunstall is virtually the driver of this race so far. But remember, for him, he needs to do that once again in the final feature race as well. He comes across the final corner. Sam Dunstall, ladies and gentlemen, is your winner of the second heat. He progresses to the feature race, and now it's Weinrich in second place, Nicky Thiem in third, Kabinji in fourth, and Ty, who crosses the line in B5 to take that all-important 5th place and to head to the feature race.
Yep, Philip Eckhart, Bailey Sweeney, and also it's just disappeared from my timing screen there. Also, Max Riedmuller will have one final chance of it in the consolation race. But we've got the final heat race here coming up of this one, and we'll be able to take you through your grid then. So it is Jason Cooper, pole position for Team RSO, ahead of Sandro Petrozilla, with Omar Chama in 3rd place and Kai Hitcheller rounding out your second row of the grid. Marcus Eichhorn and Mayan Ashert in 5th and 6th, with Chassanet Vincent and Pete Snake rounding out your 8-car grid. So that is your grid. Final heat here quickly, Samil. What are your thoughts? They've had a chance to watch those first 2 races. How do you see this going?
I'm actually quite liking this heat format. I mean, I initially came in with a slightly pessimistic view that, it's only 5 laps, so it doesn't really give the drivers a time to warm up and to really understand the car, but they've been going completely at it. The racing that we've seen here has just been so good. It's been clean, it's been calm, and in the end, it's been quality racing action. Now, though, I won't take much time, as the pace car is almost about to pull in, and these drivers are ready to go for yet another heat.
Yep. So it's Jason Cooper who rounds the final corner. He's going to control the pace out of the final corner. They've got to wait for the green light here. Patiently waiting. A little bit of a gap there at the front, but they close it up. Good formation of cars across the grid then. Green flag in the air, and we are ready for the final heat race of the evening. We've got a car at the back of the grid pulling out to the left. That is Asher down into turn number 1. We saw an incident there in the second heat race. Everybody's going to manage their way through that one. A little bit of door banging for second place, but they're going to make it through nice and clean so far. So into the second part of the arena section now. It's a great place to do side-by-side action, side-by-side racing, as there you go, up into 5th place is Ashert. And we have actually got one driver who doesn't appear to have taken the start. I believe that's Peter Snake hasn't taken the start here. So we've just got 7 cars battling over 5 qualifying places here, Samir.
Yeah, so it's pretty much everybody. It's a situation of everybody who wins here, but only 2 drivers are going to miss out. So the battle for B5 is just going to be so much more exciting. Cooper at the front is doing a fantastic job. I mean, he's led from the front and he didn't really make any mistake at the start. Unlike, of course, what happened in the second heat, So Cooper doing a good job. But back there, the battles are really happening on, and the cars are using the full space. I mean, they're not leaving any single inch on the track left unused. Now, Vincent and Icon as well, battling it out for P6. They're not afraid to go side by side, and they know that if they battle it out too hard, they may actually lose out on P5. So they need to be conscious about that, because if they fight too hard, the guys up ahead in the leading pack may just disappear ahead of them, and they may have to go to the consolation race. So guys, buckle up, relax, take your time, and get closer up to the leading pack, or else the consolation race looms large.
And of course, this is the race that you don't want to be heading into the consolation race, because it is literally, you finish this race, you jump straight into the car for the next ones. We've got a battle for the lead ongoing. Jason Cooper and Petrozilo through the final corner. They're not afraid of battling it out through the final turn, so they want the best position on the grid for the feature race. As they come across the line, it is Cooper, Petrozilo, Shama, Hitchler and Ashert rounded out your top 5 into turn number 1, and bumper to bumper action there, because Shama was getting right onto the tail of Petrozilo in front.
Oh yeah, they're really getting naughty over there. I mean, they do like a bit of contact, don't they? So Shama just trying to make his presence felt, and he's telling Petrozilo, look at that, I am here and my presence will definitely be felt. So he'll be getting closer in and trying to open the door, in fact, because with these touring car drivers, they don't really wait. They don't really have that sort of patience that, yeah, the other guy will make a mistake and then I'll go in and make the move. They really get things done themselves. They're go-getters, essentially, you could say. And for Shama, it is a quality that he needs to show right here. Of course, only a 5-lap race, so the time is limited. But if you can get something done here, the rewards will be massive.
Asher just dropping back from this front 4. So he is just dropping that little bit. He doesn't want to do that too much, as he's had another slide at the hairpin. 5th place is all of a sudden becoming under serious pressure, because a couple of mistakes there, and all of a sudden Icon is really putting the pressure on, and within just over half a second between them. So Asher now with that Schubert Motorsports car has got to be careful, not make any more mistakes here, or else he really will be under pressure here.
Exactly, and with those 2 cars right behind him, things can get a little bit dicey for him right there. So he just needs to make sure that he's calm, composed, and in fact, for the moment, even a P5 will do. I mean, of course, you do really want that qualifying position heading into the feature race, but at this moment, with so many guys right behind you, just stay calm and maintain that position, because if you push too hard, maybe there's a slight chance that you can make that one mistake that gets you off from the feature race. Back at the front, Cooper and Petrozilo and Shama, in fact, as well, they're going completely at it. They're not afraid of making any mistakes. They're fighting it hard for P1, and you can see it from the way they're driving. They want to be the driver finishing in first place. I'm loving this one. The kind of racing action that we're getting to see here, you don't get to see that too often.
I'll tell you what, 1.1 seconds covering the first 4 drivers is certainly really good to see here. Great action on a Friday night here, and I've been looking forward to the series for a little while, but there's a battle for 5th place, and Asher under pressure. He'll be having David Bowie and Queen singing in the back of his head there, because he is under pressure there through the arena section on the exit. And I mentioned it earlier, we haven't really talked about it. The arena section is a fantastic place to be able to get multiple cutbacks and make moves. There's yet another mistake, running wide slightly into turn 5 for Ashert, and he's coming under serious pressure now.
Exactly, so Ashert is now just completely has to make sure that he makes no mistake, as it has been the case for him over the last 3 laps as well. And just coming back on that arena section, I personally hate it as a driver, because I can't really get the most out of it. I'm not the best of drivers around, so for all these other guys, if you can actually get the most out of that arena section, I think that's a big place to gain a lot of time, because of course, with so many different racing lines that you can take over there, it's essentially a case of you win a lot over there, but you lose a lot over there as well, potentially. So if you get the most of it, you could be on your way up to clocking lap times that perhaps nobody else can. So that is a rather tricky section, and maximizing that is key to getting a good lap time here at the GP section. Here though, the battles are getting ever so exciting. Now we come past this right-hand kink, I must say. I mean, it's not really a corner of sorts, but it's just a fast right-hand turn. Icon now coming back for P4, and Asher, just look at his rear view mirror and he'll be seeing a big yellow car back there attacking him hard and trying to get his coveted 5th place position. Paul, any predictions for the final few laps?
Panic, chaos, disorder, anything could happen here at the end of this one. A little mistake then from Icon actually on the exit of the chicane. Got out onto the grass a little bit and just bumped it that little bit, but is able to keep right on the tail here. Lap 4 then, the penultimate lap. The front 4 are pretty much just settled where they are now. There's half a second between first and second place, but it's this battle for 5th place. This is a crucial qualifying place then, is 5th. Onto the brakes hard into the left-hander. Keep it over to the left as much as possible to open up this right-hander from Icon. Running really wide. Now that, if you're not too careful, can cause you some issues in terms of potential slowdown penalties. He doesn't seem to be affected that much, although he's dropping back a little bit. Wanted to get the better exit out of turn 6 as they head down towards the Dunlop hairpin, and you can see this fantastic shot looking back from the boot lid of the 5th place Ashert. Looking to the inside then is Icon, but just getting over the curb and the grass, that's not the ideal way through the Dunlop hairpin. Both drivers running wide through the gravel, so pretty much evened out on the exit there.
I mean, the mentality over here seems to be whatever it takes. They just really want to get that position in. And I mean, it may sound all cool to say that you're the fastest lawnmower in the world, but essentially in the race, that is losing you a whole lot of time. So making no mistakes is pretty much key to getting the results in, and especially in a 5-lap race when everyone is just so bunched up to each other. Ashert now going wide on the gravel once again, just a tiny bit of just a tiny mistake that he got over there, but of course he was able to recover pretty well because Icon is not really close back up. But now we're heading towards the final lap, and this is essentially the last couple of opportunities for Icon to get that quintessential move into P5, because if it's now or never, essentially it's now this move, or he has to jump back in the car right in a couple of seconds after this race ends for the consolation lap, for the consolation race. The white flag is out, we're on to the final lap, and now Cooper is in the lead trying to defend hard from Petrozelio. Final lap, folks, race yourselves in, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So battle for the lead ongoing, but they're pretty much stagnant for the time being, just holding positions. You will have noticed during this race that the headlights have come on as well, so it is getting darker and darker out there, and touring car drivers like hitting the back of each other at the best of times. When it gets really dark, then they've got another excuse of, well, I didn't see him, officer. But through the arena section they go, and I think that battle for 5th place is pretty much sealed here. As the famous commentator's curse comes to play potentially, because there's over a second now between 5th and 6th place, so I don't see that really being one on the card. So it's Jason Cooper at the front of this field ahead of Sandro Petrozello. I've only really raced against Jason Cooper before in this TCR car, and he is a firm but fair driver, and he's doing a very good job here at the front of this 3rd and final heat race. Of course, the 6th, 7th and 8th place drivers move on to the consolation race, which is immediately after this one, so stick around. Plenty of fast-paced action coming to you here on the iRacing Esports Network as I go through the right-hander, then down through turn 11 into turn 12, this fast flat out right-hander. Jason Cooper, front of your field, doing a sterling job. Just got to make sure he gets his marks right in through turn left and right at the chicane, and then one more corner, the final corner, turn 15, and he'll be going on to take victory for Team RSO at the final corner. There he goes. Jason Cooper is going to win this one. Petrozello in 2nd place ahead of Shammer in 3rd. Hitchela in 4th, and Ashert round out your top 5. There you qualifies with Icon, Vincent and Snake, who did not take the start, rounding out your 6th, 7th and 8th places. Samel, that was good, but now it's a consolation race, and it is do or die here, because these drivers, they've got it all to play for. Potentially 10 drivers coming into this race, and we'll be able to take you through your grid for that one very shortly indeed. In fact, let's get that up now. Fraser Smith is going to be on pole position, then ahead of Philip Eckhardt second, Marius Eichhorn, who we just saw third, with Marcel Jurutsky in fourth place. Bailey Sweeney, who had that big incident at the start of race 2, in fifth, with Chassenay Vincent sixth, Marcel Frisch and Max Riedmuller, who had to pit after the heat number 2. Pete Snake, who did not start the last race, and neither did Lennart Frick, who did not start the opening heat. But quickly, then, Samil, what are your thoughts of this final race? 5 more drivers qualify for the feature from this.
Well, the last one added a bit of variation. I mean, we've all seen some nice and exciting touring car races, but the last one was a bit of peace and calm, essentially, and we need some of that at times. But now for this one, I expect fireworks, because of course there's so much on stake. This is their last opportunity to get into that all-essential feature race. So for now, I'm expecting drivers to go bonkers, essentially, for these final positions. For the race, I guess it's going to be a tricky one to predict the winner, but in the end, the best driver who makes the least mistakes, I mean, as the case it is with all motorsport, is going to come out on top. Here we go, guys. The base car is pulled in, and these drivers are now coming in to start the final consolation race. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a fun one.
Here we go then, waiting for the green flag. The top 5 qualify for the feature race. This is the last chance saloon for these 8 drivers on the grid. Get ready. Green flag is in the air. Away we go for the final then, the final chance of these drivers. The consolation race down into turn 1. Fraser Smith does head out the field from pole position. Look at the car coming through the middle of the field and losing control. It's Max Riedmuller. He made the dive down the middle, lost control with a little tiny bit of contact. Cold tyres, it's so easy to do that. Into the arena section now. It is Smith ahead of Eckhardt, Eichhorn, Sweeney and Jurutsky. Actually, Sweeney and Jurutsky are battling for 4th and 5th place out of the arena section. So plenty of action going on here. Eichhorn getting ahead of Philip Eckhardt up into 2nd place. Sweeney is in 4th, and then Jurutsky just ahead of Chassenay Vincent in that bubble spot of 5th place.
Well, what really happened there could be a case of, well, Riedmuller just trying to press the brake pressure a bit too hard. So that corner over there, turn 1, it's a downhill sloping one, and if you just get your brake pressure a bit too wrong, I mean, if you get too much brake pressure a bit too quickly, the rear end just snaps on you as hard as your dad when you tell him that you've crashed his car, essentially. So that is exactly what could have happened. And again, cold tires and that contact over there certainly made it far worse. So for Riedmuller, he now has it all to do in this 5-lap race. Just look at that, they're getting so close to each other. Riedmuller, just look at him, the Heusinkveld car comes in, bursts through the middle, whoosh, touches around and spins all on his own just by making a little bit of contact to the other car. So for Riedmuller, it's just a Herculean task, this one. But if he can do that, that is going to be a superb thing, as we see some incidents going on here. Who's that?
Chassenay Vincent is out of this race. He's taken a tour back to the pits, and that's going to be him out of this one. He's already left the server as well. I don't know what's happened there. Maybe a technical problem or something like that, because he just seemed to be slow out of turn number 11 down through Warsteiner curve. Yeah, just pulls over to the side, lets them all through. So that is one driver out of this one, as we'll get back to live pictures here. So it is Smith in the lead ahead of Eichhorn, with Eckhardt in 3rd, Bailey Sweeney 4th, and then the battle for 5th is Jurutsky and Marcel Frisch then in 6th place, but there's about a second between those two at the moment, so no real pressure for 5th place. In fact, 5th looking at Bailey Sweeney, looking at potentially making some moves forward here, Smell.
Exactly, and for Bailey Sweeney, he's got it all to do, because in the first race, he was just a victim of that really unfortunate crash over there. So for him now, getting in some good positions in and going to the feature race is going to be super important, as we now see the cars closing into each other, getting bumper to bumper there for a second. And for Fritz and for Jurutsky over there, I mean, they're battling it hard over there for P5, but look at that, they're trying to go around the outside past the hairpin. Is this a chance? Not quite right now, but it could be. Oh, look at that! A mistake we made there, and the driver goes really to the outside, pulls wide, and that is just an open line for them to make a move. So into P5 goes Jurecki. That is a good maneuver over there, just forcing the driver ahead to make a mistake and just swooping past and taking the position, saying, nice, thank you so much, sir, that's all mine.
Yeah, absolutely, just carrying a little bit too much speed into the hairpin. The rear tyres are not up to full pressure or temperature, don't forget, because they don't have as much energy go through those rear tyres as you would the front. And Marcel Freysch has got a slowdown penalty. That's dropped him back behind Max Riedmuller, but Max Riedmuller is about 3 seconds behind 5th place. So these drivers are not going to be able to qualify for the final. They need an absolute miracle to happen to be able to get them up there. We had it confirmed as well. Technical problems for Chassenay Vincent, which is a real shame. So that's a nightmare. But yeah, Chassenay having issues, technical problems, and that's why he pulled out of that one. But you look at the positions gained, not really much gained apart from Riedmuller up 2 places and Ekon, up 1 position.
So for Riedmuller, 2 places have been gained. It's all good, but he needs to do something even better. Perhaps a miraculous performance, perhaps some fantastic laps that would get him up to P5 and just somehow push him on the brink into the feature race. He's got it all to do, but for now, if there was a race engineer in his earphone, he would only be saying push, 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 and get the best out of this one. 2.7 seconds the gap between him and Bailey Sweeney, and the battle here is getting ever so exciting.
Well, don't forget though that these two are battling it out, so they could be slowing each other down.
Indeed.
Which means that Riedmuller could actually be brought into the battle for 5th place. So you're in that difficult spot where you're in a position to qualify for the final. Yes, you want to get the best position on the grid at the back of the grid for the final, because the Consolation drivers will end up at the back of the grid for the feature race, although slowdown penalty for Bailey Sweeney through the Schumacher S. We saw that earlier for Fraser Smith in the first heat race. So all of a sudden, a mistake like that, and here comes Riedmuller now. He is only, we'll have the up on the screen, 1 second. All of a sudden, that opportunity is getting stronger and stronger here, Samil.
Indeed, and with 2 laps left, it is a real possibility. Just a couple of good laps, and then it's all about opening that door and bashing through it and saying that 5th place is all mine. 8 tenths that gap now, so it's getting closer, and again it's fallen back to 1 second. So it's a bit of an iffy situation here, but it's possible on one end, but it looks rather tough at the same time. Now at the front, we're seeing cars just forming a train essentially behind the leader. So not much is going on in terms of the racing action. As I say that, there are some cars battling it out for 2nd place, going nose to tail essentially. But yeah, it could happen. I mean, there's a possibility for a good race ending over there, as we see the lead battle getting even better, even spicier, I must say.
I could tell you, looking at my timing screen, Riedmuller has got the fastest lap of the race, a 2:05.4. So that is the fastest lap of this motor race, and he's basically putting everything into that battle for the final qualifying position. But we're looking at that battle for the lead then. Fraser Smith, Marcus Eichhorn and Philip Eckhardt, with Marcel Jurecki in 4th place. They're all together covered by about 1.5 seconds, and it's a gap back to Bailey Sweeney in 5th place. He's on the bubble and he's coming under pressure from behind from Max Riedmuller once again. But this battle at the front is getting a little bit spicy here, Samil.
So Smith and Icon, they've been going at it for essentially the whole race pretty much. So that's the last 4 laps. But now this is when things get really decisive. Remember, the order in which you finish actually determines your starting position for the feature race as well. So that first position, apart from a sense of pride, it also goes a great deal into deciding where you start for the final, the most important feature race. So for Smith and for Icon, and for Eckert in fact, who's joined this battle as well, this is a very important fight. If they can get ahead and if they can get that victory, they'll be starting in much higher, and of course it helps them in the final race. Now, as I say that, the battle for the lead is just getting even hotter. They're going side by side. inside, heading into the chicane. They touch, they make contact, and it's Smith still in the lead. And look at the battle in the back there. P2, P3, and look at that, some opportunism. And the yellow car, the two yellow cars have now come into P2 and P3. So Icon and Jarutski have now moved up into P2 and P3. And it is, well, Eckert just losing out on that big battle right there.
Yeah, Philip Eckert is really putting the pressure back on. 4th place, looking for 3rd. Down the outside, gonna make contact with 2nd, into the side of 2nd place. They're 3 wide, and all of this battling is allowing Max Riedmuller to catch up. Oh, and number 8, that's Jarutski. Goes around, that's down to 6th place now. All of a sudden, Max Riedmuller is up into 5th place. He's qualifying for this final. My goodness, what a sensation at the start of the last lap. Jarutski and Fritsch are battling for 6th and 7th place. But the big story is that Jarutski, after being in quite a comfortable position in the top 5, is now down to 6th place. But the battling isn't over yet, because Riedmuller is now looking for 4th place. He wants more positions, and he's going to fight and fight and fight all the way to the end of this one. Down into the Dunlop hairpin, hard onto the brakes. Eckert gets his line right, so does Riedmuller. Going up the hill now. It's quite a steep hill into the Schumacher S. It's a high-speed corner. Just a little lift of the accelerator through the left, through the right. Riedmuller running out of time to get 4th place, and an improvement in qualifying positions for the final feature race. I hope you've all been enjoying. Yeah, I hope you've all been enjoying this one, because it's been a great race to watch and to commentate on. You battle for 2nd place. Icon and Sweeney is still carrying on as well, but it's Fraser Smith who's out at the front of your field, and he's going to be in a much better position than the rest of them coming into the final feature race. We'll be able to give you the grid of the feature race in a moment, but down the inside goes Sweeney up into 2nd place. He's going to get that 2nd and run back for Icon to try and get 2nd place back, but across the line, Fraser Smith wins this one. It is Bailey Sweeney in 2nd place, Icon 3rd, Philip Eckert down to 4th, Max Riedmuller, great recovery drive into 5th. And the drivers out of this one, Frisch and Vincent, Chasseneur Vincent there out of this one, as well as Jarutski. He must be heartbroken with that one. But now we've got the final race. The final race of the evening, and it's Ross Balfour, the winner of Heat 1, who leads this one ahead of Sam Dunstall, the winner of Heat 2. The winner of Heat 3 is Jason Cooper from Team RSO. I think you're getting the idea of how they've arranged the grid here. Then Tim Stabani in 4th place. 5th for Kevin Weinrich, with Sandra Petrozila in 6th place. Reinhard Hebel in 7th with Nicky Team 8th place. 9th on the grid will be Omar Shamat with Dennis Neidhart in 10th. 11th with Patrick Kabinja, with Kai Hetschela in 12th place. 13th for Andrei Rakovic, with Marcel Tai 14th. Martin Asher in 15th, with Fraser Smith, the winner of the Consolation race, 16th. These are the rest of the drivers, are all the Consolation qualifiers here. Bailey Sweeney 17th, with Marcus Eichhorn in 18th place. Philip Eckert 19th, and Max Riedmuller 20th. But Samil, what a consolation race, and that's just giving us a taste of what's coming here.
Take a deep breath and exhale. Oh, that was a rather chaotic race, and I can't wait for this one. Just as we're done with one race, one really frantic and exciting race with probably one of the more exciting finishes that you can ever watch, here we go again for the final feature race, that one that decides everything. Guys, strap yourselves in. This is going to be a thriller, a crackerjack of a race. Here we go. They're peeling off across the final corner. The feature race is here. This is going to be superb. Once again, rolling start in the night. The headlights are on. The green flag will be dropped in. And here we go.
Yeah. Ross Balfour leading them across the line, then green flag in the air, away they go. Everybody peels out now. Look at this, 4-5 wide, heading down towards turn 1. A little bit of rubbing going on. in towards turn number 1. Nicky Team getting into the back of one of the drivers for
Oh
third place.
goodness,
We've got
a crash! He's going to pinball! He's going to contact! Oh!
Into the number 3 car of Omar Shama. There's chaos in the back of the field, and well, we'll have to see how that all pans out. Rest of your field coming through now. It is Ross Belfer who leads, Sam Dunstall second, Jason Cooper third, with Tin Stebani in 4th place, Sandro Petrozelli in 5th place, with Dennis Neidhart in 6th, and the rest of them, the rest of them, it's actual action further down in your field. But we have lost 3 drivers. Reinhard Heibel, Nicky Team and Max Riedmuller are all out of this race. They are down in the pit road. They are not taking part any further in this one, Tamil.
Oh, team fans, if you're watching, it's probably a good time to switch the TVs off, but I would not really advise that because the racing action is superb. But yeah, that aside, that start there was well, just to misquote Gerard Butler, this is touring cars. This is exactly what happens in every single touring car race, and that was just another example of that. What a mad start that was. Couple of cars just crashing on each other, and these guys are just not afraid of touching and making contact if it is the end result is for them trying to get up ahead and get in the win. Of course, crashes don't win you races, but performances like the one that Ross Balfour and Dunstall are putting in, those are the things that really get you to the top and get you that crucial race victory. Now Fraser Smith is now defending his position really hard, and look at these cars, they just look so superb with the headlights on. I could just watch this all day.
I tell you what, Fraser Smith, ever the opportunist, up 8 positions on this first lap of the race. Started 16th, up to 8th place. He's having an absolute barnstormer. 33, that is Bailey Sweeney. Slow down penalty, got up over the curbs on the final chicane, but there's a battle for second place going on at the moment, and it is Jason Cooper and Sam Dunstall down in towards turn 1. Ross Belfer is pulling away at the front, and look at this down the middle. Tim Stebani, he's wanting a piece of the action here, and before you know it, Dunstall is looking at a possible 4th place here in this queue of cars, but he's side by side now with the driver Stebani, and here comes Petrozilo working moves up into 4th place. A little bit of contact between him and Stebani, but they're all carrying on through the arena section.
I have a feeling, I have a theory that these touring car drivers, they have an acute case of a fear of missing out, because whenever some battle happens, they're just right there saying, okay, how can I not be in there? What a superb race we're getting to see here, and it's only lap 2 of 15. Oof. Wow, this is going to be so much fun as we now see Stebani fighting out for that position. That is P5 he's in right now. And you just get a feeling that he's going to grow on to P4 and get it from Petrozilo. He's closing in. Oh, Petrozilo doing a good job to block that line over there. So Stebani, his job is getting even tougher as we now see Petrozilo making a move.
He's made him, making moves there, and Dunstall making mistakes down at the Dunlop chicane through the left and the right then, and Dunstall now having to deal with the pressure there of Stebani in towards the left-hander now, onto the brakes, looking to the inside. Oh, a little bit of a shoulder barge. That's touring car racing right there, but still Dunstall stays ahead. A little bit more of a shove there, and before you know it, here comes Dennis Neidhart now making moves up into 5th place. So Stebani, going from battling for 4th place, has dropped down to 7th place here.
So this reminds me a bit of those Moto3 races where 1 minute you're leading and completely the second moment you're back in P10 or P11. Now from the onboard angle of Fraser Smith, we're just seeing so many moves being made over there. I think that was Stebani who got back into P6, made that lunge into the chicane, as we now see Smith making a move as well, going side by side past the final corner. Oh, this is getting really exciting on the front stretch. Who's going to get the edge towards turn 1? This is getting a bit tricky as they slot back into the draft. This is a smart move again, because of course you get the slipstream and you get a real edge into braking into turn 1. Here they go, 3 wide, and they make contact once again. Oh, side by side, and these guys must be having something really heavy in the underpants. They are properly bold.
They're driving like the pants are on fire is what they're doing here. But Fraser Smith doing a fantastic job to move ahead. Dennis Neidhart and Sam Dunstall swapping positions as well. It's hard to know where to look in this in all this battle. And here comes Stebani then, coming to make moves. The car 25 right across our camera there. Great shot from from our director there, Hugo Lewis, as they go into turn 6 on the brakes, getting into the right-hander, on the power once again on the exit. It's a 15-lap race, guys. There's plenty of time to fight. Calm it down. You need to have a car at the end of it just to finish. Onto the brakes, and Dunstall having to go defensive, holding that inside line into the Dunlop hairpin, but you can do that into that corner.
Oh,
Fraser Smith running wide.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you're having that mentality of pushing hard every single lap for over the course of the next 15 laps. You can make those mistakes, and with the RS TCR, yes, it's a front-wheel drive car, so it can be a little bit understeery. So when you make errors like that, you can run on the grass, as we now see a sub-battle going on there, side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel, door-to-door action, and somehow, someway, Stebani just doesn't come out of it in a crash. This is superb.
This is great stuff. Fantastic. Stebani, Dunstall, side by side. Who is going to have the cojones going into the final chicane? It's going to be Stebani on the brakes, but Dunstall, you can get the run out the chicane into the final corner. There's a defensive block from Stebani. My goodness, that wasn't shutting the door, that was slamming it in his face. Fraser Smith now getting involved in this one. Behind them, there's also battling going on between Kevin Vreinig and also Patrick Kabunji. So plenty of action all the way through the grid. I could tell you that your leader, Ross Balfour, is 0.8 of a second in the lead, as Fraser Smith now making moves once again up to 6th place. That's 10 places gained for the full send driver.
Just where do you look at? There are so many battles going on up and down pretty much, so you can't really focus in one place exactly. Oh, the move being made there by Kubinji heading into this left-hand corner. It's a very tricky place because you've got so many different racing lines, and it's so easy to mess things up over here that getting a move done right here is one of the more trickier aspects of racing. Kubinji though loses out on that position, but here he goes again for this left-hander, opens the door up, makes a lunge, not quite there.
Yes, we're going through the right-hander then, turn number 6, and Kavinji looking to make the moves. Not going to happen, or is it? Here we go, on to the brakes then. Down into the Dunlop hairpin once again, and the thing is, he's got to look out because behind him is Marcus Eichhorn, Kai Hitschler, Bailey Sweeney, Marcel Tai and Andrei Rekovic. You know that everybody's got pace in this race because you've all had to finish in the top 5 of your respective races here. So really, it's all action all the way through the grid, and there's a swap of positions with a slowdown penalty for one of your drivers. That was Hitschler.
Exactly, so quality is essentially all across the grid. There is absolutely no driver here who doesn't deserve to be here, and the racing action, well, it has just spoken for itself. As we now head deeper into the night, these cars just look glorious with these headlights on, and with some good battles going on as well, they look even better. Now, Kubinji still fighting out for that 8th position, and it may not be the most lucrative spot to fight for, but again, it's a good battle, and we are getting entertained. So Weinreich is right behind him at P9, and Kubinji could be under some serious trouble heading into turn 1. He needs to block off that line, mark his line in, and shut the door at the right moment. Can he get it done? Moves to the inside, blocks the spot off. Here he comes, Weinreich around the outside. This could be an opportunity, but Kubinji smartly blocks it off, but again, a cutback could be on the cards.
Well, I'll tell you what, yes, it's 8th place, 9th place, 10th place that they're battling for, but there is a championship. At the end of the day, this is a championship, so you need to get as many points as you possibly can now, because yeah, you may not have had the best week here, but come to the next round at Oulton Park, that is a notoriously tricky track to overtake at. So get as many points as you can here tonight to take you forward into the next rounds of the championship here, Samuel.
Yeah, exactly, and at Oulton Park, if you make a move over there, you, my friend, are the ultimate driver, because that track is so narrow and it's so tricky, and like a proper British racing circuit, it just winds around. It's a bit serpentine in nature, and it is so much fun to drive that making an overtake over there is, well, one of the more tougher things in life, isn't it? So getting as much as you can at the Nürburgring round is going to be super important. Remember, this of course is a Formula 1 track. Of course, it was last year's in 2013, but it's properly wide. It's an FIA Grade 1 circuit. So you've got a lot of room over here, and if there's any place in the world where you can actually get some good moves in, it is right here at the Nürburgring GP layout. For now though, these cars are settling in, going single file at this moment in time. They will fight though. We've got 5 minutes left in this race, and you will see them coming all together and just going bonkers towards the end.
Yeah, as they're heading on through, and I can't believe it. We've got a chance to just take a quick breath here in all of this action as we're coming in towards the start and finish line. So there we go. You see the two leaders there. That's Russ Balfour and Jason Cooper. And Balfour hasn't been able to pull ahead that much. Oh, Bailey Sweeney's had an incident and he's got damage to the side of his car. He's in the gravel trap at the last corner. What on earth has happened there to Bailey? Let's have a look on the replay here.
All seems normal here, but not here.
Oh.
Goes on the grass, makes some contact, and spins around. Classic old touring car incident.
That was Marcel Ty. So Marcel Ty actually lost a little bit at the back end, trying to make avoiding action on Bailey Sweeney, and ended up making contact. So yeah, definitely not an ideal way through. I was actually going to run ourselves through the field here whilst we've got the chance then. So we are with about 3.5 minutes remaining in this race. Ross Balfour leads ahead of Jason Cooper in second place. Sandro Petrozello in third, with Dennis Neidhart fourth place. Just dropping back a little bit is Dennis in fourth, but he's got that queue of cars behind him of Tim Stebani in fifth. Fraser Smith, the racer of this particular race, driver of this particular race, moving up 10 positions, with Sam Dunstall losing 5 positions in this one. Started on the front row, down to 7th place, and Patrick Cabani in 8th place. That's your top 8, with Kevin Weinrich and Marcus Eichhorn rounding out the top 10. But yes, definitely great action, and we're coming into the closing stages here, Samil. And what's your thoughts? Can Jason Cooper make a move for the lead? Can Tim Stebani make a move for 4th place?
Well, with touring cars, the only answer is it's all possible. Nothing is impossible over here. We've seen the most dramatic things happen, and now Stebani, just as I say, is lunging down to the inside past the chicane. Oh, that is a daring move, but again, can't quite get it out because the chicane is so fast. Again, a bit of opportunism. Dunstall comes in and says, no, that's not Dunstall, that's Fraser Smith. And somehow, some way, he just finds a way past. No, that is actually Dunstall. So Dunstall came all the way back and got 2 positions in one corner. And now they're going side by side against Stebani in the heat of the action. Paul, this is just as exciting and intense as a game of rugby, isn't it?
Absolutely. Fraser Smith then, who made the 2 positions. He's up 12 positions now. You got Sam Dunstall and Patrick Cavani battling it out then for 6th and 7th place, and Stebani at the back of them all. He was going for 4th place into the chicane. That slowed down both himself and Neidhart. That gave Smith the opportunity, ever the opportunist there out the exit of the chicane, to make the move down the inside, double bag into the corner. Thank you very much. As here comes Cavani now in towards the end of this race. Just 1.5 minutes left in this one, so we might get one more lap in this one here, Samil. But these drivers, they're giving us one heck of a show on the opening round of the Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series.
Exactly, and I'm just wondering about how many glasses of caffeine do these drivers drink before these races, because they just can't get a break. They're so excited, and they're just putting up such an intense and a fun race to watch. Now there's another battle on the cards. Kubinji currently in 6th place, and Dennis Neidhart is defending frantically. He's defending for all his might over here. Somehow he closes the door, and Kubinji has to wait for a few more corners and try to see if he can get something done in that rather quick chicane that's going to come up after a couple of corners. For Kubinji, I think the best opportunity is turn 1. Only 34 seconds left on the clock. It's getting all closing up here, and with one more lap left, pretty much, this is all or nothing right here for Kubinji. The points are at stake, and if he can get a good result in here, it will pay off massively for the rest of the championship. Only 17 seconds now, so I'm assuming that this is going to be the final lap of this race as the drivers now come across through the home stretch. Single file, turn 1 could be the main chance, the final opportunity, I would say. Kubinji trying for a lunge. He goes frantically to the left hand side. Is this the chance? They're going side by side. They're going to bottleneck here. Oh, side by side again, and Kubinji somehow gets it down, or does he? They're going wheel to wheel over here. Cutback could be a chance for Kubinji, or no, he goes to the inside. A cutback doesn't really materialize for him, and he has to settle for this position for P6 for now. And I say for now because there are a few opportunities still left, Paul.
Yep, absolutely. So we're on the final lap then. Balfour and Cooper lead this one, but it's very close at the front of your pit field. Sandro Petrozzello is in third place, kind of on his own really in third place, because then you got that battle, that epic battle for fourth place with Fraser Smith heading that one. But the two leaders, we're looking at them right now, Ross Balfour and Jason Cooper, out of the Dunlop hairpin, heading towards the Schumacher S. This is the second half of the final lap. You can see the battle going on, and Patrick Kubinji moving ahead of Dennis Neidhart into the hairpin. That is the opportunity that he was looking for. That was the best opportunity really, but Neidhart will look to come back here. This is coming towards the end of the lap now, in towards turn number 10, the left-hander. You've only got turn 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 remaining in this one. Fraser Smith, I would say, is pretty much in fourth place, but it's that fifth place battle that's going to the end of this one. How will it be decided? We'll have to wait and see. They're heading towards the chicane for the final time. Looking to the inside is Neidhart, but we're going to have to look forward as well, because your race leader and going to be opening race leader, race winner of the first feature race in this championship, Ross Balfour, across the line, takes the win in the Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series. Second place for Jason Cooper with Sandro Petrozzello in third place. Across the line they all come together. It's Fraser Smith, Patrick Kubinji, Dennis Neidhart, Tim Stepani and Sam Dunstall, with Kevin Weinrich and Marcus Eichhorn coming across the line neck and neck. And there's only one driver left out there, and that is going to be Bailey Sweeney coming towards the end of the lap. They're all celebrating that one, but Samil, wow, what a race there. What an exciting final feature race there.
Before I go on to that, how on earth do you drift a front-wheel drive touring car? That just is beyond all my abilities. But yeah, coming back to the race for Ross Balfour, I think when there is so much chaos around you, you just need that one dependable character who can go in and do the things when nobody's watching, clock in the consistent lap times, make no mistakes, and become the winner in the end. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what one certain Ross Balfour did, and ended up being the winner of this first Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series round at the Nurburgring. Jason Cooper in second place with Petrozzello coming in third, and then of course the rest of the grid followed on. Paul, take it over please.
Yeah, absolutely. So Fraser Smith then leading that absolutely epic battle. Fourth place, started the race down in 16th, so great drive from Fraser there to finish in fourth. Patrick Kubinji in fifth ahead of Dennis Neidhart in sixth. Tim Stebani, he was battling for fourth until he lost a few positions down to seventh place, with then eighth place for Sam Dunstall. Kevin Weinrich in ninth and Marcus Eichhorn 10th place. 11th for Kai Hitschler, with Andrei Rakovic in 12th. 13th for Philip Eckhart ahead of Martin Eschert in 14th place. And then the drivers who had issues. Bailey Sweeney we saw having the issue at the final corner, getting caught up in an incident with Marcel Tai, who finished 16th. And then drivers who did not finish: Omar Shamar, Reinhard Heibel, Nicky Thiem and Max Friedmuller round out the 20 drivers in that feature race. But wow, unbelievable action out there, fantastic stuff. And Samil, it's the first round of the championship, and it pretty much went exactly as how we expected it to go.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why I call the touring cars the totally chaotic racing cars, because they just never fail to put up a good show. And boy, did we get a good race over here. So many different small heats, and in the end, the feature race with just so much drama and action all across the field. And in the end, Ross Banfield putting in a commanding performance and winning the first round of the Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series. Just take a look at the replays, and I can't believe it. The kind of racing that we saw over here is just mind-blowing. They just get so close to each other, and of course, being a touring car race, they do the obligations and crash into each other as well. But in the end, we got some good, hard, fair and clean battling. And boy, I wasn't disappointed. I loved it.
Yeah, touring cars, TCRs, they always provide great action, great intense driving out there, and you can see the instance that we had in the race. We're looking through. This is Dunstall then losing out, battling away with Stebani through the arena section, and that is where Petrozilo actually made a good move up into fourth place, should I say, partway through the race. So you can see how those main moves down into turn number 1 and then through the arena section really counts. There's the instant with Bailey Sweeney then at the hairpin, the final corner, getting just he got wide himself, and then Marcel Ty lost control into the side of him, and that was his race affected in that one. And then more action that we see here. This is Covinci battling it out with Dennis Neidhart towards the end of the race, and of course it was Covinci who made the move on Neidhart. Look at that late move out to the left hand side, shows his nose, makes Neidhart go a little bit wide, and then through the right hander. It was certainly great action to watch, and Samil, a lot of people think that touring cars is all sort of crash bang wallop. Yeah, there was a little bit of rubbing and a little bit of forcefulness, but there's some great overtakes made as well.
Exactly. The one thing I really loved to see was that towards the end, when the drivers actually got settled into the cars, they made some very decent and respectable moves. They gave enough gaps to the other drivers, and they left enough spaces, and in the end what we got was the finished product of racing. Some crashes, yes. Some big battles as well, yes, but in the end we got some good, hard and clean racing, and that is exactly what we wish for. I mean, whatever category we're watching, that is the very reason why we actually tuned into motorsport, and with these TCR cars, that is exactly what we got. And at Oulton Park, I'm assuming that we're going to get a lot more of this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Still highlights from the race there. That was Kabuji making the move forward up into the 5th place ahead of Dennis Neidhart. Had to go defensive there partway through that, but did make those moves up and towards the very end. This is a thing, again, pressure going into the chicane, really pushing hard into the chicane, but no real move being made there through the final corner, and Neidhart was actually under pressure from behind by the driver of Tim Stebani. And then here we are round the final corner. Ross Balfour and Jason Cooper, they were pretty close towards the end there, but it was Ross Balfour who takes the win in the opening round of the Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series. It has been an absolutely thrilling series, thrilling opening round to the championship, and the next round of the championship will take us to Oulton Park on June the 12th. You do not want to miss that. Oulton Park, my personal favourite track in all of motorsport. Tricky track to overtake at, but a very good, exciting race that will prove to be on the international layout there. Barcelona, we're running on the national layout at Barcelona on July the 3rd, with Zandvoort on the 24th of July. Interlagos then, August the 14th. That always produces fantastic racing in these TCRs, trust me, with Silverstone rounding out this series. This opening championship of the Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series. And final thoughts then, Samil, before we head on off. It's a yes, it's a big tick in my diary. Yes, I'm looking forward to that next round on June the 12th.
Same here. And at a track that is so fast and flowing like Oulton Park, I can just expect fireworks. I love that circuit. It's such a fun track to drive on, but racing over there can be a bit tricky. But as we've seen today, these touring car drivers are bravehearts essentially. They are the drivers who just dare to make those moves that nobody else would probably make. So yeah, heat racing at Oulton Park and in TCR cars, bring it on. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, that is it for us tonight. Don't forget, tomorrow we have the third round of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge from Donington Park, and then following that, the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. Join us on the iRacing YouTube channel for all of the action on that one. It's going to be thrilling racing around the full Donington International layout. But for myself, Paul Smith, Samil Aurora, with Hugo Lewis behind the cameras and controlling the stream, and Istvan Balo providing us the track cameras, trackcams22.com. What a thrilling opening round of the Heusinkveld TCR Heat Series. Bring on the next round on June the 12th at Oulton Park. But from myself and everybody here, it's goodbye.